Hello there guys, and welcome back to another episode of Rebuilding Histon. And coming up in today's episode, we have got the playoffs for promotion playoffs that we are involved in. First up, we're up against Hereford in the semi-finals. If we win this game, we then move on into the playoff final. And if we win that game, we end up being promoted to hopefully the National League South. I doubt we'll be promoted to the National League North. It's going to be quite a challenge though to see if we do end up getting promoted today, because we are up against a couple of good teams. Hereford have been on a really good run of form ever since they actually lost to us back in January sort of time of this particular season. Before we continue, I just wanted to apologise for the delays in the upload schedule. It's mainly because I've been really busy and I wasn't able to create a backlog at the time, so apologies for that. I hope to create a backlog the next time that sort of situation does come up. So without further ado, let's actually get into the first match, which is the playoff game. This could be the only match actually of the episode if things don't go according to plan. I'll show you quickly what Hereford's run has been like. So ever since they lost to us all the way back in January, they haven't lost. They've only lost once in the entire Southern Premier Division. They've won the Southern League Cup final, 3-2 against Guernsey, and then they've pretty much won every single match in the Premier Division with only 5 draws and 1 defeat in the last. I don't know how many games there are in there, but they're on the back of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've got a 6-game winning streak at the moment. So, and we're coming off the back of a defeat from the last episode, if you guys remember, against Leamington. If I quickly show you that, yep, 1-0 defeat against Leamington. Unfortunately, that was a real disappointing time for us. We weren't able to get the result needed, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway if you watched the episode, because Salisbury did enough anyways to secure their promotion. So, without further ado, let us begin the match. We're actually at Banbury Stadium for some reason. I think that's mainly because they won the playoffs last year, and that's the reason why they host the playoffs and the playoffs for the next season. I don't know how it all works in this division. Just someone please help me out with that. So here's the team we're going to go for today. Reese Bills in goal with Osifua, Osborne, Utteridge and Curillo, the back four. Unfortunately for us, Alfie Davidson is suspended and he's banned for 4 games, so he will be out of the entire playoffs and will be out at the start of the season. So bit of a frustrating thing that he got sent off on the final day right there. Fortunately though, we do have Callum Frew returning for us in that midfield area alongside Danny Waldron, who's got a good player. His player has reacted well. That's according to someone to prove his worth with the worth of the team, and pleased with how the previous chat went. So hopefully he can provide some good form and ensure that we don't miss Davidson today. And we've got May and Reed on the wings with Difford and Green up front. We need these two guys to step up here. We actually have gone for defensive positioning when it comes to the pre-match preparation because of Hereford's really good run of form. On the bench, we're going to go for Colquhoun, Goff, Wolf, Bonner, and Marshall Katung. Unfortunately, our morale isn't that great. The only one who has a positive morale is currently Justin May. Everyone else is on yellow average morale, so I'm hoping that doesn't come into massive effect for us today. Let's get on with the match though. It's really crucial that this particular game, we haven't lost to Hereford so far. He says it as we're going to. I've probably cursed my team right there by saying that, but we'll see what happens. Last time I also checked. We also got a question to deal with. I forgot about this. Confident we can find a way through. Going over for that. Go for that. And looks like they're going for a 4-2-3-1. Bakerley, Agimpong and Jake Sinclair obviously are the two guys you need to watch out for. Louis Robles on the bench. Loft as well. We've got a lot of players to watch out for in terms of the Hereford team. Quite a few of them are linked away with moves to higher divisions. So if we do actually get this surprising result based on the odds that were shown to us at the start of the episode, the start of the thing, I'm not 100% sure. You have to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on this, but I thought they were favourites or something like that because of their good run of form that they're on. But a lot of their players are currently being touted up by teams in higher divisions. So if we kind of cause an upset and we ensure that they don't get promoted, a lot of these players may not be at Hereford next season. So we might actually completely stunt their growth, but they'll still have a massive amount of massive amount of finances compared with most of the other guys in the same division. So without further ado, let's go into the team talk today. This is absolutely crucial that we get a very good team talk out today. I'm going to go for... I don't know what to say. Go for that. See if that does anything. One person seems motivated, but our goalkeeper looks to have switched off, which is not good. Have faith. Please, that changes anything. Nope, that doesn't. That's not good. Have faith. Does that make any differences? We've got one guy that's turned to fairly good, and everyone else has stayed okay. So we're going to have to, I think, have a positive start in this particular match as we now get the game underway. Taking a little bit longer than expected right there as Hereford kick it off from left to right. Let's see how well this match goes as De Silva is now on the ball for Hereford. Plays a ball, and that's the end of the highlight. Right, corner for Hereford. It's cleared away by Fru. Goes back out towards De Silva though on this right hand side. Well held though by Bills, and we can now start hopefully a counter attack. But it looks like we're taking a little bit of time to decide what we're going to do. Bills kicks it forward towards May, tries to win the header, but Martin is right there. Here's Charlesley to McTominay, up towards Loft, who plays the ball to Charlesley. Can we please win the ball back? Here's Beckley Agimpong of Mano already singled out. Here's Jake Sinclair, through on goal, he's scored, and it's 1-0 Hereford here. It's not a very good start for us today, and Hereford are really showing their class at the moment. They've had all the shots so far in this match, as we're now going on attacking right now. Okay, here's the highlight. Beckley Agimpong, the ball back to McTominay, who plays a nice little through ball to Sinclair, who's onside, and he finishes it through Bills. I think he goes through the goalkeeper as well, so a bit of a weird animation there, but that doesn't matter as long as the ball goes into the back of the net, and it has done so for Hereford. Right, highlight, throw in for Hereford. Here's De Silva receiving the throw in there, and Waldron's won it back though, and here's May to Fru. Ball towards Green, might look for Difford in the box here. Drills a cross in, but Cato is there. It was a bit of a poor cross in the end by Josh Green, going straight into the hands of Cato in the Hereford goal. Ball, as a goalkeeper's played, Hutchridge won the header, but it's gone back down to McTominay, back to up forward to Charlesley. Here's De Silva, back to McTominay. Loft, who's picked up an injury. McTominay, who's played a ball to Charlesley, and Bills can't keep it out, and it's 2-0 Hereford here, and it looks like our playoff dreams are pretty much done and dusted, unfortunately, after only 35 minutes. We're still yet to register a shot, so I have no idea what is going on right here. Nice little through ball again from McTominay. That's 2 assists for him now, I think. Did I mark him in the tactics? I'm not 100% sure, though. Opposition. I did say close... Oh, did I say close them down? No, I didn't. Okay, that's my fault then. Right. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. It is half-time now, and we're really just being outclassed. 1 shot and 1 on target throughout the whole game. I'm going to be telling them off here because they've just not been good enough at all. Despite the team, yes, Hereford are the better team, but they haven't been good enough at all just to warrant being in this game. We could be 3-4, 5-0 down at this rate. So we've got to get something into this team. Everyone's not doing very well in terms of the play rating. 6.8 for Reece Bills is the only one that's doing anything so far. 6.3 for Ossie Fua, so that's not been very good. And a 6.3 for 2 of our strikers. Do I change something? Do I bring someone else on? I'm going to leave it as it is for now, and if nothing changed after 50... Oh, if we don't get a quick goal, then I will change it. So if we now begin the second half, as we kick off from left to right this time. Osborne, who both our centre-backs are on yellow cards as well, which is not great. Green had the ball there, but that's the end of the highlights. Right, it's now time to make a change, because we're heading up towards the hour mark, and we still haven't been able to dent the Hereford goal here. We're going to bring on Marsh Katung, I think, for Josh Green. He's only on a 6.2. He's our top scorer, but he's not performing well on the biggest stage right now, and hopefully that will give... hopefully Marsh Katung can come off the bench and provide us with a lifeline. Another change now, because nothing's happening. Steve Reed's going to come off and Simon Bonner's going to come on. I'm pretty much now starting to give up at this point, because it doesn't look like we're going to be getting anything out of the game, and looks like we're going to be heading home at the semi-final stage of the playoffs. It's a bit unfortunate for us, but considering the fact that we finished second and we in theory should be favourites to go up then because of that. But because of the fact that we did overachieve overall this season. So the fact that we were fighting for the league title in our second season in the 7th tier. Yes, it would have been nice to get promoted from this division, but I think we're going to have to spend a 3rd season at this level, and hopefully we can sort out some of the 2 issues that I've been having over the past couple of years, which has been squad depth and what's the other thing? Oh, discipline because of our yellow card record. Jack Rodriguez has picked up 22 yellow cards this season, and we've had suspensions left and right for different players. So it's not really been a very good season when it comes to that. I've been trying to sort it out though by criticising player discipline, but that hasn't seemed to have done anything. Because I did that to Alfie Davidson last season, and he still gets sent off quite a few times. So I'm just trying to think of things to talk about with only 15 minutes to go, because there's not been many highlights in this second half. Right, entering the last few minutes now, 1 minute of added time only at the end of the game as Phil Wolf picks up a yellow card. For the last 30 seconds or so of the match, and looks like Hereford are going to be going through to the playoff final as the 5th place team as opposed to the 2nd place team. Here's ball to McTominay, who might play a ball to Owusu, which he has done. Up to ball, and they might have another goal here as Sinclair crosses it, but Osborne clears it away. And that's the end of the match. Hereford have won this game 2-0, and we were able to I don't know what to do here. Actually, I'm going to go for assertive, because they didn't do they didn't do themselves any favours. They should have played a little bit better than they had. They only registered 2 shots in the entire match from what I saw from the stats. Right, if we go to the post-match analysis, 3 shots, 1 on target compared to 13 shots and 7. Yes, Hereford have had their really good run of form, but the fact is we've had their number the last few times we've played them, and now all of a sudden they decide they've won 2-0. So yeah, one of those things, I guess, and we've been eliminated from the playoffs, and we were just going to have to try again next season. Hopefully, let's get promoted by automatically, and they don't have to worry about the playoffs in the future. So the positive thing is that it looks like Josh Green will be holding on to the top goal scorers list, because Dan Fitchett can't do anything about it, as Salisbury have already been promoted, and Ryan Loft is already 11 goals behind. So that's the positive there. Dorchester also won their match away at Merthyr Town, so it's going to be a match-up between Hereford and Dorchester as to who's going to get promoted into the National League South, I think. Alright, so that's the end of Season 3, and unfortunately that wasn't the end of the season that I'd like, but it's one of those things we have to move on from that, and we build again for next season, and we just have to look for areas to strengthen the squad, see what players need to come into the team, or from the youth, see if there's any players from the youth academies to promote up, and see if they can provide any help on that side of things instead of us having to spend some money. In terms of average rate, let's go for goals first. Most appearances so far was Justin May with 54 appearances, 3 coming off the bench, 47 appearances for Stifford right there, excuse me. Reece Bills making 46 appearances, less than I think he did last season, mainly because I wanted to give Luke Colquhoun a couple of 11 games, and keep him happy at the club. In terms of 46 appearances for Reece Bills, and 43 appearances for Utteridge and Josh Green. If we go on to goals, Josh Green, 38 goals this season, 30 goals for James Difford. So fantastic strike. We have replaced Aidan Glider and Ryan Williams because of these 2 strikers, which is fantastic. I don't think there's any problems in that department, but we just need to add the depth in either the midfield or the centre-back or the defensive area in case, or if one of these guys goes down, we need someone else that can step up, because Marshall Katunk has only scored 9 goals this season, and we need that to be in double digits, because the only other guy in double digits that scored goals was Justin May with 14 goals. Got 18 assists as well, so he's probably at the top of the assists. Yes, he is. 18 assists for Justin May. Very good season for him, with James Difford with 13, Josh Green with 10, and then you've got 9 for Steve Reed, who had a bit of a lull in the middle of the season, but then started to come back after losing his position to Simon Bonner. And then we've got 7 for Marshall Katung, only 5 for Callum Frew this year, with only 27 league starts, mainly because of his injuries and also his poor discipline, which is a big shame. I'm tempted not to actually re-sign him for next season. He is wanted by, if it loads, he's wanted by quite a few clubs in the division above: Boston United, Chester, Nuneaton, Sutton and Torquay. So I'm tempted to actually re-sign him and then see if we can get some money for him, or put him on the transfer list and see if we get some money for Callum Frew, and possibly bring up someone like Callum Marin to replace him in the long term. And then the average rating, Josh Green with 7.25, Callum Frew with a 7.17, 7.16 for Difford, 7.1 for Ellis Miles, despite only making 9 appearances this season, 7.1 for Justin May as well. So a lot of guys were in that 7 range, as you can see. A lot of them were in the starting 11. It was only really towards the bottom end. So you got Ryan Williams only on 6.65, and a couple of the signings, Stephen Cox and Brian Schmeichel, unfortunately those two signings didn't really work out for us, so they're going to be leaving us at the end of the season. I'm going to hopefully find better replacements for them, because I thought these would be guys that we could bring in for depth in case some players went down for injury. Unfortunately, they weren't the case, and that was a big shame. Steve Higgs only on 6.78, he only made 5 appearances so far this season, but I'm sure he's going to get better. I think he's on a non-contract at the moment, so it doesn't really matter if he does end up leaving. A bit like also the same with Reece Norton, who's a bit further down the pecking order in terms of the centre-backs. We signed actually one player off camera, and that was Carl Pritchard from St. Neots. He's probably going to be that replacement for Justin May, or substitute replacement. He's more of a backup rather than actually being the starting job. As you see, he's only got 2 stars, and he's at the same level as Stephen Cox, but I think he's younger. Yes, he's only 24 years old, whereas Stephen Cox was 28. So I'm hoping we can develop Carl Pritchard to be a much more than what Stephen Cox was. Fingers crossed we can do that. And that's the end of our little mini season wrap up. We're actually going to go to the rest of the division, what's been happening further up, could be joining our league next season. So if we go to the Premier League first, and in the Premier League it looks like Arsenal are going to regain the Premier League title after losing it to Manchester City the previous season. 7 points clear of Chelsea, with Man United and City occupying the top 4. Spurs and Liverpool in 5th and 6th respectively. Leicester still in that top half, doing really, really well at the moment. At the bottom we've got Fulham, who are already relegated, Reading, who are already relegated, and Newcastle, who are fighting with Norwich and West Brom as to who's going to be promoted. Who's going to be staying up in the Premier League. Crystal Palace and Middlesbrough. Crystal Palace getting an instant return back to the Premier League, and Middlesbrough returning after a not too long absence away from the Championship. Wolves, Hull, Cardiff and Sunderland currently occupying the playoffs. 1 game remaining though, so it could all still change. Derby and Ipswich have a chance of snatching that 6th place away from Sunderland. And down at the bottom, 3 teams have already been relegated: Charlton, Blackburn and Bradford City. In League 1 we've got Peterborough. Looks like they've got promoted back to the Championship finally after a couple of years of being very, very close to getting promoted via the playoffs. There's a scrap between Sheffield United and Coventry, out of all teams, as to who's going to be promoted in that 2nd spot, with Rotherham, Portsmouth and Leyton Orient currently occupying the playoffs, with Oxford, Scunthorpe and MK Dons looking to take advantage of any slip-ups. Gillingham and Birmingham are still actually in that little fight as well for that final playoff spot. And at the bottom we've got Cambridge unfortunately getting relegated, with Swindon also going down, and Exeter, Luton, Northampton, Port Vale all in a fight to see who's going to stay in League 1 this season. Port Vale were in the Championship only last season, so they've kind of fallen off the wagon as well when it comes to performances. In the League 2 we've got Doncaster and Chesterfield. They've got promoted automatically already, but it's a fight as to who's going to be winning the league title, with Wickham currently occupying that 3rd spot just ahead of Plymouth. So it's a fight between those two as to who's going to be getting that last spot, with AFC Wimbledon, Mansfield and Crawley currently occupying the playoffs. Rochdale just looking at on the outside at the moment, and Southend are out of it. And at the bottom we've got a bit of a scrap to see who's going to get relegated out of the Football League between Grimsby, Eastleigh and Cheltenham. So it's only going to be one of those teams that's going to survive and last another season in the Football League. I'd like it to be Eastleigh that stays up, because they just got promoted into the League 2, and it'll be nice to see them stay up. In the National League, Barrow have completely walked away with the whole National League title, winning it by 8 points. And at the moment we've got we have Hartlepool, York, Harrogate and Chester in the playoffs, so it'll be an interesting fight I think as to who's going to be getting back into the Football League. Hartlepool, Chester and York have all got previous Football League experience. I think Harrogate haven't never been in the Football League in their history. I'm not 100% sure on that. They've always been down, as you can see, all the way down from the 7th tier, so they haven't really had any success in the, or haven't had any, say that again actually, I'll say that again, Harrogate have never been in the Football League before, so it'll be new territory for them if they do get promoted. And down at the bottom we've got Chelmsford, North Ferriby, Welling and Sutton United. Sutton already relegated, Welling and North Ferriby also relegated, and it's a fight as to see who's going to be staying up here, because there's a couple of games actually that are still going on to end the seasons between the bottom 6 clubs, I think. Southport, Braintree, Bournemouth, Chelmsford and North Ferriby all, I think, are playing in the last game of the season the following day. But North Ferriby already relegated, so it's a fight between Southport, Braintree, Bournemouth and Chelmsford as to who's going to occupy that last relegation spot. In National League North, we've got Altrincham winning the league just about, I think. Yes, they've already won the league because they've already played 42 games. Stockport, Kettering, Salford, and Darlington currently occupying the playoffs. No one else can catch them, I don't think. Yep, because Boston United are 1 point behind, but have already played all their games, and FC Halifax are too far back. So it's a four-way fight between Stockport, Kettering, who were promoted this season into National League North, Salford, and Darlington as to who's going to be getting up into the next division. And at the bottom, Banbury have already been relegated, unfortunately, so they're going to be most likely playing us next season. Worcester and Gloucester are currently occupying the relegation spots, but it's a fight between them two and Curzon Ashton as to who's going to be staying in the league, in this particular league next season. Only one team out of three will stay up in National League North. In National League South, Dulwich Hamlet have won the league, with Dartford, Torquay, Margate and Dover occupying the playoffs. At the bottom, Gosport, Chippenham and Hungerford all getting relegated. So it looks like we might be playing some of these teams next season. Let's hope we can get some positive results against them and hopefully overhaul them and ensure that we can get into the next division next season. They've in the middle. This Mayfield Premier Division. They're currently fighting the playoffs right now. Farnborough got promoted, so they've done fantastically well after being shunted out of the in the first season against us in the Southern Premier Division. Southern First Division 1 Central. I remember now how you pronounce that. But they've managed to come back and got promoted the last two seasons and are now either in National League North or National League South. Billericay and Lowestoft are now occupying the last two teams in the playoffs. Looks like they beat Peterborough, North Star and Worthing in the last round, and so it will be between those two as who's going to get promoted into the next division, with Concord, Kings Langley, Folkestone and Metropolitan Police all getting relegated. This was the division that we're in. Into the Northern Premier Division. This will be the last division, I think, and we'll have a quick look at actually the division that we used to be in. Bishop Auckland actually won the league, as you can see, 98 points for them. Gainsborough and Marine are the last two teams in the playoffs at the moment, so the two, quote, non-favourites managed to win, both in penalty shootouts it looks like, because Gainsborough beat Spennymoor and Marine beat Ilkeston. Sorry, Gainsborough actually were the favourites against Spennymoor based off the league table, although they both had the same number of points at the end of the season. But Gainsborough managed to win through on penalties, and Marine managed to beat Ilkeston on penalties. So it's a two-way fight between those two as to who's going to get promoted. And at the bottom we've got Hyde, Matlock, Hendersford and Mickleover all getting relegated. And if we go all the way down now to Southern Premier Division, Southern League First Division Central, let's see who's been promoted. Taunton have been promoted. Okay, very interesting. And it's oh, actually no, I'm looking at the wrong division. Sorry. Look at that again. Rugby actually have been promoted. Promotion for them. I think they were in the division below that. No, actually they got moved across from the Northern Premier Division, First Division South. So we'll probably be playing them next season, but we'll have to wait and see how all the leagues get moved around a little bit. In the playoffs right now, Oxford City, Chesham, and Corby. So it's going to be a little fight between those three as to who's going to be going through there. Chesham won their match against Kidlington right there, and I think Oxford City have got Corby the following day. And at the bottom we've got Potters Bar and Northwood both getting relegated. And if we go to the other division, as I was looking at before, Taunton getting promoted, as I mentioned before. Guernsey missing out, despite only finishing 1 point behind Taunton at the end of the season. So it's a fight between Team Solent and Barnstaple as to who will be promoted into probably the Southern Premier Division. So, without further ado, that is the end of Season 3. Unfortunately for us, it was not to be in terms of a promotion fight. But we'll come back next season and hopefully we can win the league and hopefully not avoid any playoff heartbreak like we did this season. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode and the series so far. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Also comment to see if there's anything I can do to improve the series. Any tips, tricks to do to try and see if we can get our team promoted up into the next division next season. So until the start of next season, I will see you guys later.